Real quick disclaimer, my throat's a little sore, that's why for this video I wanted to get it out to finish off the March break, but yeah. So we start off seeing this robot messing around, okay. But like I said, at the end of the last episode, I was gonna fight Swan. So I got Swan super low, and then I made my way closer for the final hit. I wanted it to be a critical hit, and he went down. Now, at this point, that was the end of my use of the Deathclaw Gauntlet, as I got the best weapon that I had access to, the Furious Power Fist. It does 2 less damage points, which is practically nothing, than the Deathclaw Gauntlet, but every consecutive hit, it does more damage, which makes it better. It has the same speed anyways. So I went around testing it out, you know, getting ready to use it, get myself familiar with it once again, because I have used this weapon in other playthroughs. I eventually decided, you know what, while I'm out testing this, let's take down the Railroad, because that's a future mission that you have to do with the Brotherhood. Now, the Railroad, this massive secret organization, has their password to get in as their title, Railroad. I don't know why, like, these geniuses who are trying to save Sins came up with this, but whatever. So after they let me in, I just immediately turned on them and attacked them. Because again, no matter what, you have to take them down later on, so why not just take them down now? I made my way through, found this robot that I regret taking down now after doing editing, because you do need to kind of keep this robot alive to get some extra experience or something. But I mean, I didn't know that at the time, so I took it down. So continuing on the main storyline, we go up to this, some sort of technology building skyscraper thing to fight and find a Courser. So we find the Courser, who honestly looks absolutely amazing. Some sort of like trench coat made out of like a ballistic fiber, I don't know. But you know, he figures out that we're here for him, and that's absolutely right. We need what's in his head. So we take him down. He started to use the stealth boy and heal randomly for some reason, but I mean, it did not help him at all. Took him down, took the Courser chip, and you know, we needed to then analyze this Courser chip, so I went back to the railroads area, because as they've killed a Courser before. I analyzed the chip, then I go back to Virgil and show him the chip. So he tells me, here are some blueprints to build a teleporter. Awesome. But as I leave, I was like, wait, that Deathclaw's still there, and it's still injured. I got this better weapon, let's fight it! And so all of a sudden it just grabbed me, which I did not know it could do. I didn't know there was a little cinematic battle thing. But yeah, it battles me and grabs me, whatever, but honestly, this Deathclaw stood no chance at this point with my absolutely massive armor set and my new amazing weapon. So I take the plans over to Proctor Ingram. I called her Teague in the last video. She is Proctor Ingram. She looks him over and says, okay, you need to go get a bunch of stuff so you can go build the teleporter. And I said, cool, I'll go do that. But before, I spent like the next hour upgrading my armor even more, because why not? And then before I went on the teleporter, Elder Maxon has a mission for me to go find someone named Madison Lee. She's a doctor. And you know, I guess she was in Fallout 3, and now she's in Fallout 4, because we need her help building a massive weapon. And as you saw, I also passed a really hard skill check. But as I'm in the Institute after being teleported in, I find my son, Sean.
Sean?
He's trapped in a cage? I'm like, what? Why is he in a cage? So I start trying to talk to Sean, and I'm like, Sean, is this you? But he doesn't recognize me. Fair point, he's never seen me since he's a baby. I tell him I'm his dad, and he starts screaming for his father, I guess. But then, this old man comes out, and like, shuts him down. I'm like, wait, what? And it turns out, this Sean is a Sith. But then the old man, called father, tells us that he's Sean. And I'm like, what? And he goes on to explain that it wasn't 10 years that had passed, but actually 60 years.
I don't like that.
Crazy, he tells me to go meet the people in the Institute and wants me to join him. I was like, okay, I go immediately to Madison Lee, passed an absolute crazy skill check, and of course Lady Killer and almost max charisma, it works. I then go ahead and fight an Assaultron and end up getting killed. That sucks. I kill the Assaultron this time to grab the vial that I need to give Virgil here, because remember that was the deal, he gives me the plans to get in, and I give him the serum that'll reverse his ability from a super mutant. So I go ahead, and he's surprised that I'm alive. I give him the serum, and I'll go back in a couple days. But then, with Madison now back, Proctor Ingram has something to show me. Liberty Prime, a massive robot that the Brotherhood of Steel had invented back during Fallout 3 in Washington. They used to take down the Enclave. If you played Fallout 3, you'll know. And I guess they've recovered the parts and brought them over here to now fight the Institute. but they want to upgrade Liberty Prime after he was destroyed. So she asked me to convince Madison Lee to help her. She was one of the original manufacturers of Liberty Prime, after all. So I convince her. She goes down, and she needs some parts. So Procter Ingram and Madison Lee tell me where I can go to get these parts. It's a magnet, and I say, okay, I'll go do that. But then as I'm going here, I'm just going to show you a couple of these fights, because all of a sudden, a lot of explosions went off, because I found this sentry bot, and it all went downhill from there. So I was going to leave the sentry bot, and I was like, wait, Dogmeat's fighting it. Okay, I got to help Dogmeat out here, as I turned around to help him. Yeah, these things explode massively, and then the doctor hospital thing that I needed had a super mutant suicider, so it runs towards me with a mini nuke, and it blows up, and then the car next to it blows up, and then as I healed Dogmeat, another car blows up. There are so many explosions. I go inside, and there's another super mutant bomber, so I start hitting him with Molotovs. He blows up Dogmeat in another massive explosion. That was absolutely crazy. But I eventually got the part, and then I'm told now I need to head back out to the glowing sea to find this military fortress that has pretty much massive nukes that Liberty Prime can throw as weapons. Cool. I really quickly level up as well, and I put a perk into Lone Wanderer. Also, I show that I put another perk in Iron Fist, and now my punching weapons do over 120 damage, you know. But I make my way through this place and find a ton of ghouls. With how high of a level I am, these ghouls do nothing. Like, I just absolutely start shredding right through them. And again, there was like, what, 4, 5, 6 or so. And it's like I'm one-hitting the legendary one, and I'm just mowing them down. Dogmeat, you know, holding them in place so I can get an easier hit, which is nice of them. But in the end, I take all those down. I find this guy who's protecting the bombs, and I pass the speech check because I don't want to fight him. Because it turns out, literally after I was, you know, completing the speech check, and I tell him I'm going to put the bombs to get used to spread Adam's love, I turn around, and there is another Assaultron. These things are crazy hard to fight. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to fight you. I'm glad I passed that speech check. But I make it in, and look at these crates of bombs. They're like bigger than mini nukes, but not as big as an actual nuke. But I was like, heck yeah. So I go ahead and tell, Procter Ingram, here, I found all the nuclear bombs. Now what do you need me to do? And she tells me, well, you see, let's go ahead and test out that he works now really quick. So, you know, I press a button. He starts talking. And the way they have him set up is he views him as America, which just makes sense. This is in Boston. But he views the Institute as the Chinese Communist Party, which is kind of funny. But anyways, I go ahead and talk to Max and pass a speech check, and then the reason why he called me here, turns out, after that Institute visit, they got some information. Paladin Dance is a synth, which really sucked. So I made my way over, because you have to hunt your mentor down, your person who accepts you into the Brotherhood in the first place. But as I passed the hospital, I found this car crash here, and I was like, wait a minute. I remember having to do this back when I played Fallout 4 for the first couple times. So you see me safe here, because I know what's going to happen. If you grab this little stuffed animal in the car, a super mutant behemoth will spawn. And be like, hey, that's mine. And he'll come over and try and take you down. So I had to fight this super mutant behemoth, because, you know, he's massive. But I just, like, for a quarter of the health left, I was able to one-shot him with a critical strike, which was pretty good on my part. But eventually I found Dance. And I tell him, hey, I don't want you to die. I'm not executing you, okay? I'm keeping you alive. These are very hard speech checks, by the way. You need to have almost max charisma to pass them. Elder Maxon's over there. And I tell him, Maxon, pretend he's dead. Look at all the lives Paladin Dance saved. So he agrees with me and says Paladin Dance is officially dead. So I talk to Paladin Dance. He's going to stay here. If I need him as a partner, I can go get him. Then I start hearing stomping around me. And there's a Deathclaw here. So Super Mutant Behemoth, Deathclaw, like, I'm fighting all these powerful monsters for whatever reason, especially after Elder Maxon just leaves and agrees that, yeah, Dance can stay alive if he's assumed dead. So this Deathclaw comes up and I just take him down. Whatever. I go back to Elder Maxon and he tells me with Paladin Dance being such a high rank in their system, he's promoting me to the Paladin. So instead of it being Paladin Dance, it's now Paladin Dragon. Which, I mean, awesome. Now I'm a really high rank. I then need to go talk to this guy, Captain Kells, because he's going to tell me I need to take down the railroad. But I already did. But for some reason, there's no speech check, there's no a dialogue option to tell them that I already took down the railroad, especially their leader, Desdemona, and her second-in-command, Deacon, and whatever. So I'm kind of confused. I'm like, wait, why do I have to go back here and take them down? Well, for some reason, you have to do this anyways, because a bunch of just random NPCs spawn that are part of the railroad. Okay, sure. I also find out that if I kept the robot alive, I get more experience. That sucks. But Virgil, messages me and says, hey, I'm a human again. Cool, I visit him and whatever. I then go talk to Proctor Ingram, because we need one last piece to get Liberty Prime working. It's a massive power cell. So she wants to go with me to retrieve it. No problem. But then I was like, oh no, it's another mission about being on a hang glider thing. But then the guy starts telling me like really crazy stuff about how the plane's going down, because you're supposed to shoot them with a minigun, but I guess the jet's going down the hella, the vertibird. So I was like, heck yeah, I can just jump off and fight these guys with my fist. So I didn't fire a gun. Up here I found a strength bobblehead with max strength. I don't think that does anything. But eventually I make it to this area. I grab the power cell that we need to power Liberty Prime, and I fight another sentry bot where I just one-shot it apparently because I'm that tough, and it absolutely nukes the building and it explodes. And then as I'm looting its ashes, through the ashes again come two Assaultrons. And I hate these things because they can one-shot you, as you saw previously when I was in the Institute. So they run through the sentry bots like broken body, and I take down one with Proctor Ingram. But then the other one powers up its laser, and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting one shot here. I put in as much damage as I can, and then I run away and hide. So eventually, though, it uses its laser, because what else is it going to do? It almost kills me, puts me down to, like, really low health, but I was able to survive. I don't know how it even hit me through that, but whatever, I took it down. From there, I go ahead and put the power cell in the back of Liberty Prime. I go down, and I power him up. It's time to infiltrate the Institute. He starts talking about the Chinese Communist Party again and how we have to take them down. Because again, this is 2287. Back in 2087, it was the massive war that was Russia, China, and America. So, and then, as I'm fighting, it's like, okay, Liberty Prime, I'm supposed to protect him. But, that old meme, Liberty Prime, was like, you know what, let's see if friendly fire is on. It's like that meme. It's like, yeah, let's test friendly fire. So as I'm taking down the Sims myself, he just throws one of the nukes that he has on his back at me, and I absolutely blow up. Like, what the heck, man? But in the end, I get to see him absolutely cause mayhem and destruction, taking down the Synths. But then a super mutant behemoth came up, and I was like, man, this thing is so small compared to Liberty Prime. And I guess Liberty Prime had the same idea, because he just grabs it with his fist, picks it up, and then just chucks it to the side, and it dies instantly. And I'm like, well, I know we're winning this war. Liberty Prime eventually makes it to the Institute, where he blasts a hole right in, and for good measure, because we have to make the hole big enough to enter, he throws a nuke directly into the hole he just opened up. And now we can go to the Institute because we just breached right in. Mind you, they're meters and meters below the surface. Cool. I drop in, Elder Maxon gives me a bomb that's very small, by the way. I say small in quotations. And tells me, here, now with this experience you can level up. And so I put one last skill into Charisma in case I need to do a speech check. And then I fight my way through to the reactor, because that's where we need to put the bomb in order to blow up the Institute. So here's a little bit of a sped up fighting thing, because again, I felt like I wasn't showing as much fighting as I was the story, because the whole point of the challenge is to just fight with, unarmed weapons with your fist. So here's as well, me mowing down the sentries. It was really easy. They could do practically nothing because of all my armor and my damage and my health being upgraded. But then I found Sean, and turns out he has cancer and he's dying. It's a very sad scene, especially if you go with the Institute as the faction, but I tell him I'm here to blow up the reactor. I tell him, listen, Sean, help me here. And he goes ahead, rightfully so, and says, why on earth would he help me after, I'm destroying everything he built? And I tell him, because, we can minimize the casualties, and maybe we'll let some of your people live. And so, with that, he says, fine. He gives me a code to shut down as many synths that are located on this thing. So a bunch of synths do get shut down, but the scientists are still ready to fight. So they're ready to protect the power core, reactor core. I fight our legendary boss, almost dying in the process. I give myself a bunch of buffs again, because this thing has a flamer, it does a lot of damage, but with these buffs, it stands no chance, and I absolutely take it down. I then open up the reactor core, and I put this little, you see the little device there? I put that little device in, and again, I say little, but the explosion it will make is massive. But in the end, I get teleported out of that area, right back to Proctor Ingram and Elder Maxon. We find the robot synth Sean, And they said, we can't leave without, me letting this robot come with me. But I was like, listen, you're not Sean. You're a robot. You believe you're Sean, but you're a robot. And it's like, you're just going to let me die here? I'm like, yeah, you're a robot. You're not my Sean. My Sean just died. So we get teleported out. But, that little bomb that I had set up, I detonated. And that little thing causes an absolute massive nuclear blast, which is the end of the Brotherhood of Steel faction line and the end of Fallout 4.
But now I know. I know I can't go back. I know the world has changed, that the road ahead will be hard. This time, I'm ready. Because I know war. War never changes.
With that amazing ending, we come to the conclusion of the challenge. Is it possible for you to beat Fallout 4 using only unarmed weapons? Yes, it is. There were a couple times where, I did use mines and grenades and whatever, because for longer range weapons, I thought that was okay for myself. I kind of bent the rules a bit, but I thought that was fine, whatever. And there were some times where I thought I'd have to use the miniguns on the vertibirds if you went with this faction line. But nope, with the Stronghold mission, you can just storm it yourself without using the vertibird. And then if you just take enough damage on the vertibird up in that skyscraper, you just result to jumping off. Fallout 4 is an amazing game. There's so many other ways and other faction lines that you can do to beat the game. I could always do a regular playthrough if I wanted to, sped up like this in multiple parts. Or there are other challenges I can do for Fallout 4, such as maybe a different kind of melee weapon like bladed or blunt weapons, only pipe weapons, only using VATS to fight, so many different ways. And of course, I am going to be coming back to Fallout 4, not right away, but sometime in the future to play it again, do a different faction line, and do a different challenge. But with that, it comes to the conclusion. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Nonetheless, maybe leave a like, maybe leave a nice comment down below, maybe hit that subscribe button, retain that little bell. See you guys next time for another challenge. Bye, guys.